Alright, Divide Riders, the weekend bonanza of video shooting continues. Today we are talking about some packing considerations. So I want to show you the bags that I would suggest bringing, and then just some different considerations that when we're out on trail, how you'll be able to access them and what I would put in each of those bags. Okay? So let's start with the bags you can bring. Okay? So I'm recommending to everyone to bring kind of a medium-sized suitcase, okay, or duffel bag. Okay. The key thing here is just be mindful that whatever you put in here, it's going to be stored amongst a ton of other bags. Okay, so don't bring something that's breakable because it could easily be stacked and have a lot of weight on it. So don't bring those expensive electronics that are easy to break. Just be mindful that it's, like I said, it's going to be stacked. Something we learned last year is that we want everyone's bags, their name on the bag somehow. Ideally with a tag where it's easily visible, so that if we need to get out your bag, we know right away whose bag it is. Okay, so suitcase or duffel bag, and then having a tag on your bag, and nothing that's going to break easy inside the bags. Okay. And as far as what to pack, as far as clothing wise goes, I put out a suggested packing list not too long ago. You know, one thing that I've learned from traveling with my bike is I would put my shoes, so your riding shoes, and at least your helmet in your suitcase. I wouldn't pack that sort of thing in with your bike box, just in case your bike does not land with you. Now, a good thing about this year, and hopefully for future years, is a lot of our riders are arriving in advance, so hopefully we can sort out any luggage issues in advance. But just in case, especially if you're arriving on the day of, so on the 30th, is to have your shoes and your helmet and any essential riding gear in your suitcase. Okay. Alright, so suitcase, duffel bag, that's one bag. I'm recommending to most people to carry just a standard size backpack. I'll go into the contents of this backpack in a second because I know a lot of people have questions about that. And then the other bags, we'll move around here. I've got a bike box that I've talked about with a bunch of you already, so either it's going to be cardboard or hard plastic. The big thing to note here is that once your bike is out, we're going to store this case in the back of the trailer, and it's not going to be accessible. Okay, so if you have any tools that you really only need for packing and unpacking your bike, we'll put those in here and we'll store that at the back of the trailer and only have to pull it out once. Okay. Oh, one other thought on the suitcase that I just remembered. Once you get your clothes out in the morning, each morning at our campsite, when we put your suitcase back in the trailer, it's done. It's in there for the rest of the day and you won't have access to it, okay? So something to keep in mind is whatever you want to wear during that day or whatever you want to have access to, I want you to have it in your backpack or easily accessible inside the van, because once the bike box and the suitcase are in the trailer, it's in there until the end of the day when we pull it all out. Okay? Alright, let's go through the bags that you'll have with you while you're riding. Now, pretty standard bag for really any kind of cycling is a seat bag, so that's going to have your tube, your CO2, tire levers, maybe some Allen keys, a patch kit, just really anything in case you have a flat. That's usually the things you'll carry in there. I have some custom bags done up. You know, Ed and I will be carrying some extra gear that you don't necessarily need to carry, including some heavier tools and first aid stuff. So we need the extra pack. So this is an added luxury if you can get it. It'll take some of the weight off your back if you're carrying a backpack. So this is an example of one of the custom bags I have done. It's a frame bag. It mounts right in there. And this is great for you know, carrying all my tools, really the heavy stuff, keeps the weight low and, like I said, off my back, because ultimately the more weight that you can get off your back, it's going to feel better for your back end as you're sitting for hours on end, okay? So I'll go through a backpack now. That's the pretty standard thing that all of us will be carrying, unless you have a bunch of custom-made packs done up, which I don't think anyone's in that boat. But this is an example of a backpack I had last year. Really, you have two types of backpacks. One that has a bladder in it for carrying water, and one that doesn't really. Now, I'm not a big fan of CamelBaks because I find that they always leak. You can only really ever put water in them because they'll get moldy, especially on long day trips. But some people are big fans of it, so if that's the route you want to go for it. So I'll show you some of the things that I would recommend maybe having in your pack. And again, Ed and I will be carrying probably more and different things. Things like first aid kits, emergency blankets, that you don't need to carry, okay? So, first and foremost, I'll start on the outside of the pack. A whistle is something that's great to have, and that's something that I had in the suggested packing list. If you get into a problem, you know, a couple toots on this whistle, especially if there's any bears around or you get in an accident, that's something that's easily heard in the woods, okay? The next pocket, so thinking about the outside of the pack being the most accessible, the next pocket I usually put things like maps, so the 2 adventure cycling maps that we use, my phone. There really is not much or really any great reception out there, but in case we do hit a highway and we need to use it, it's there. Plus it's great for easy video and pictures. So phone, passport, okay, I recommend carrying that with you each day. My wallet, because we go through towns where you never know, you might want to just pick up something on the go, or you know, maybe you'll have to take a detour to a bike shop and join on a little bit later. So make sure you have your wallet with you. Wallet, passport, phone, maps, whistle. Moving inside the pack, I have this bag just to represent what a lunch pack might look like. So depending on the day, quite often the girls will have a packed lunch for us. So it'll probably look something similar to this size. So packed lunch. As I said before, I don't like to carry a CamelBak bladder, so I'll have a full bottle, extra bottle ready to go in my pack. Some of the extra things that pertain to carrying water is having water purification tabs. So you don't necessarily need to have this. This is one of those things that Ed and I will have, but it's not a bad idea, okay? Just in case, a very slim chance you get separated from the group and you need water, you need it purified, water for your purification tabs. Electrolytes, carry those. You know, as I've mentioned to you in emails, you'll have access to a wide range of hammer products, so I like to carry some hammer bars, maybe some Perpetuum solids. Okay, so that's food. Next I'll have is backup clothing. So arm warmers are usually a safe bet. A warm base layer, and I went through some of these in the clothing considerations video. The shell jacket, which I talked about being a really great investment, you know, we hit a patch of rain or a wind, these things creep up in the mountains, so this is something definitely to have in your pack. A vest, and to some extent you'll be able to gauge what you'll need each morning, and I'll be pretty transparent on if there's any special considerations, like today you're going to need more water, today you're going to need more food. We'll go through that each day. And if all else fails, just look at what I'm carrying, what I'm wearing, because chances are I have a pretty good read on the situation, and always ask questions. All right, let's talk for a second about some important principles for the outdoors. Now, whatever you pack with you, you could bring everything in the kitchen sink if it fits in the packs that I've outlined here, or you could take a bit more of a minimal approach and make it a little easier on yourself. Whatever you bring, I want you to think of it having more than one purpose. So a jacket then you can wear more than once. It's not going to get easily wrecked if it gets sweaty and dirty. It's easily washed maybe with just a water bottle, like a shell jacket. And everything having three purposes, like I said. So a cell phone, for example. Cell phone can be used to call someone, can be used for pictures and video, can be used as a compass. So although I'm not the biggest fan of cell phones, in this situation it can be a good tool. As for what you bring in your backpack and really anything on your bike, so once we leave camp in the morning, I want you to think of it as, well, don't expect there to be any meetups with the vehicle. For all we know, worst case scenario, that what if scenario, vehicle could have a breakdown and we could be on our own for many, many hours, okay? So whatever you bring in your backpack, I've suggested some things. Of course, water bottles are on that list. I've mentioned having at least 3 bottles when we go in the morning. I want you to sort of expect that you're going to be on your own. You're not going to have that safety network. So have all the clothes you need, the lights you'll need, water bottles, everything you would have with you if you were to just go out on your own for a day trip, okay? We're looking forward to the adventure, and we'll try to get this video up right away. Okay, thanks guys.